Bizarrely, it was a shoplifting incident at a local Big W that brought Sharoof undone in the 2005 Pendennis investigation. Security guards notified police after they discovered 140 batteries and 6 clocks hidden in a carton Sharoof took from the store. Counter-terrorism police identified the cash as a possible detonating device for an explosion.
These guys, their view was jihad was to kill. That was that simple. It was to kill in God's name, or in Allah's name. That was it. And it was clear from their discussions, it was clear from the material that we had gathered, that they had now been, my words, groomed, indoctrinated now to a degree that the next step was to now carry out an act. And that's an act here, that's an act within Australia, that's not overseas.
After his arrest, Sharoof was held with 8 other men from Western Sydney. But within days, Sharoof's lawyers were arguing he was too mentally ill to face court.
They were aided by the medical file that I had gathered over the years on Khalid Sharoof.
Here we go. Good afternoon.
Adam Hooder had been Sharoof's criminal lawyer before the Pendennis arrest.
These matters are scandalous political prosecutions which shame this nation. These young men are presumed innocent.
He acted for the Pendennis accused in Sydney, but not Sharoof, whose case was soon awash with psychiatric experts.
Thank you.
Which politicians were grandstanding, Mr. Hooder?
Khalid Sharoof is not bad, he's mad. There's no less than 5 psychiatrists that I know who have diagnosed him with very significant mental health issues. And that's why I find it very problematic that all this hysteria and counter-terrorism and ISIS debates are based on the actions of a madman.
Sharoof ultimately spent less than 4 years in jail after agreeing to treatment for his mental illness. He pleaded guilty to a single charge of preparing for a terrorist act.
I've sent an email to all parties last night.
At Sharoof's sentencing, his Australian-born wife, Tara Nettleton, gave a statement to the court that Sharoof wanted to turn away from radical Islam.
She said that she'd spoken to Sharoof at length and that he'd expressed a great deal of regret that he hadn't looked after his children properly, and he wanted the opportunity, if allowed out of prison at some stage in the future, to make up to those children for what he had not given them, which strikes me as a very ironic statement.
4 years after his release from jail, Khalid Sharoof fled Australia. His wife and children soon joined him in Islamic State's stronghold in Syria. In a display of unrepentant brutality, Sharoof got his young son to pose with the severed head of a Syrian enemy. The photograph shocked the civilized world.
It's only a mentally deranged person will do such act, and I was trying to say it has nothing to do with Islam, because this guy didn't go to Syria to defend the Ummah or the Muslim or the oppressed people in Syria. He was scared of his life, and that's why he fled this country.
Four Corners has now pieced together how Khalid Sharoof spent his 4 years after leaving prison. He rebuilt his ties with local Islamic extremists. He earned a reputation as a menacing standover man, and he emerged as a full-blown gangster jihadist despite being on the watch list of every counterintelligence agency in Australia.
Are you planning any more protests this weekend?
You would think in the case of somebody like Sharoof, knowing now a bit about what happened to him in those intervening years, that had he been kept under observation, it would have immediately alerted to the authorities that he was moving in very bad circles indeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, wearing the red trunks with the white piping, please welcome Mohammed Sugar Elama.
Featherweight boxer Mohammed Elamar was one of Sharif's first connections after his release from jail.
Mohammed Sugar Elamar.
The boxer introduced Sharif to his gym.
Underway to the controversial rematch.
I used to see him attending the boxing gym on a regular basis. I go to the boxing gym, the same gym as Mohammed Elamar. As you know, Mohammed Elamar is an accomplished boxer. I think he was a former two-time Australian super featherweight champion. And I noticed that Khalid Sharif always attended to support Mohammed Elamar and his career. He'd go to his fights, watch his fights and support him.
But Sharif and Elamar had a more potent tie. Elamar's uncle had been the leader of the Pendennis terrorist plot in Sydney. A former engineer, also known as Mohammed, he was jailed for 21 years for his role in the conspiracy. At court on the day of his uncle's sentencing, Elamar was in denial.
My uncle, the best person, he used to go with me to boxing fights because I was a boxer and he used to train me.
Elamar would forge a deep bond with Sharif that would bring both of them to Syria.
I noticed that he got really fit. If you were interviewing Khalid Sharif right now and you would ask him what motivated him to go to Syria and Iraq, he would tell you that I'm just sick and tired of seeing brutal dictatorships killing women and children, and it's incumbent upon every Muslim to go to the defense of those that are being killed and oppressed. That's the answers that he will give you.